For 28 years, Elijah Carter cleaned the same hospital floors before sunrise. At 68, his back hurt constantly. His knees cracked every morning, but he never complained. Every nurse knew him. Every patient smiled when he walked by. "Morning, Mr. Elijah," they'd say, and he always answered, "Still breathing, baby. That's a blessing." But the new hospital director, Richard Collins, saw him differently. Old, poor, replaceable. One rainy Monday morning, Collins walked through the lobby and stopped cold. Elijah sat quietly drinking coffee before his shift. In the executive waiting area, Collins frowned. "You people really think rules don't apply to you?" The lobby went silent. Elijah blinked. "Sir, this section is for staff executives and donors. I work here." Collins laughed. "No, you clean here." Several nurses looked uncomfortable. Elijah slowly stood. "I've worked here almost 30 years. Collins stepped closer. "Then you should know your place." Someone nearby started recording. But nobody expected what Collins would do next. He grabbed Elijah's coffee and dumped it straight into the trash. "You're done sitting here." The lobby froze. Elijah quietly picked up his jacket. But the sadness in his eyes hit harder than anger. And by lunchtime, the video had already begun spreading online. By sunset, the hospital lobby video had exploded online. Millions of views. #Respect Mr. Elijah flooded Facebook, TikTok, and local news stations. People couldn't believe what they were seeing. An elderly black janitor humiliated for drinking coffee in a waiting area after nearly 3 decades of service. Former patients began posting emotional videos. One woman held back tears. "Mr. Elijah sat beside my mother every night during chemo when nobody else had time." A veteran posted, "When I lost my leg, that man brought me coffee every morning and reminded me I still mattered." Inside the hospital, staff morale collapsed. Nurses whispered in hallways. Doctors quietly replayed the video during lunch breaks. Many had never liked Richard Collins, but now anger spread fast. Still, Collins refused to back down. At an emergency staff meeting, he crossed his arms and said coldly, "This hospital is a professional institution. We cannot let emotions override standards." One nurse stood up. "Standards? You embarrassed a 68-year-old man." Collins snapped back. "He's maintenance staff. People are overreacting." But the next morning, everything changed. A gray-haired attorney arrived carrying a leather briefcase. He asked one question: "Where is Elijah Carter?" Nobody recognized him. Minutes later, the man entered the executive boardroom and placed a thick folder on the table. The room fell silent. Ownership documents, legal records, old signatures. 20 years earlier, hospital founder Benjamin Whitmore had secretly transferred a major percentage of hospital ownership to Elijah. Why? Because during a fire, Elijah had rushed back inside and saved Whitmore's little daughter. Whitmore never forgot. The quiet janitor everyone overlooked was one of the hospital's largest owners. And Richard Collins had just humiliated the wrong man. The emergency board meeting began at sunrise. Richard Collins entered confidently. He expected applause, support, maybe a small public relations problem. Instead, he found silence. Cold silence. Every board member had watched the video. Several looked furious. One elderly woman on the board leaned forward. "Did you really tell a man who served this hospital for 28 years to know his place?" Collins adjusted his tie nervously. "This is being exaggerated." Then the witnesses began speaking. A senior nurse stood up first. "Elijah comforts scared patients when doctors are too busy." A cancer specialist added, "He's the reason some families survive the worst nights." Letters from patients were read aloud. One man wrote, "Mr. Elijah sat beside me after my wife died. He was the only person who stayed." Then the doors opened. Elijah walked in. No expensive suit. No lawyers surrounding him. Just his janitor uniform. The room stood up. Even board members. Collins finally looked shaken. "You should have told me who you really were," he muttered. Elijah looked at him quietly. "That's the problem. The room went still. You thought kindness belonged to titles. Respect shouldn't depend on money. Collins lowered his eyes. For the first time in years, nobody feared him. 10 minutes later, the vote was unanimous. Richard Collins was terminated immediately, and for the first time, the hospital applauded its janitor. The city expected revenge. Lawsuits, public humiliation. But Elijah Carter surprised everyone. Instead of punishing people, he started changing the hospital. Using his ownership authority, Elijah created new programs for workers who had always been invisible. Better wages for cleaning staff. Emergency help funds for struggling nurses. Mandatory anti-discrimination training. Mental health support for overnight workers. Everybody matters, Elijah told reporters. Not just the people wearing suits. The story spread nationwide. Media called him the janitor who owned the hospital. But Elijah hated that title. I ain't trying to own people, he laughed. I'm just trying to remind folks to see each other. Months later, the hospital renamed the employee garden the Elijah Carter Garden of Dignity. A bronze bench stood near the flowers. On it were simple words: respect everyone. You never know their story. One cold winter morning, a young nurse found Elijah quietly mopping the same hallway. You don't have to do this anymore, she said. Elijah smiled. Baby, work ain't what made people disrespect me. He looked around the busy hospital. Being unseen did. Then he picked up his mop and kept walking. Only now, nobody looked past him anymore.